I declare the motion as amended passed.
Members' motion with no legislative effect. Mr. Gary Chen will move a motion on seizing the opportunities of accelerating the development of new quality productive forces in the country. 7 members will move amendments to the motion. This council will proceed to a joint debate on the motion and the amendments. Later, I will first call upon Mr. Gary Chen to speak and move the motion. Then I'll call upon Dr. Johnny Professor William Wong, Mr. Sunny Ten, Mr. Shang Hailong, Mr. Dennis LEUNG, Dr. Tan Yueheng, and Mr. Yim Kong to speak in sequence, but they may not move the amendments at this stage. The joint debate now begins. Members who wish to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. I now call upon Mr. Gary Chen to speak and move the motion. President, I move that the motion as printed on the agenda be passed. President, in this year's government work report, there is a buzzword known as new quality productive forces. I believe we're all familiar with this term, and we have our own perspectives on this term. I'm not going to give a definition of this term here. I raised this motion today because I'd like to bring together our collective wisdom to contribute to the economic growth of Hong Kong as well as our country. I think new productive forces have a huge implication and meaning. It's about boosting productivity and is also an important theory put forward by our country. It calls for new productive forces, new industries, new modes, and new growth drivers, and there are strategies behind all these. Mr. Hailong, in the National Education Day, mentioned about new productive forces. He said that we have to proactively seize the opportunities brought by new productive forces, and we have to bring together talents from around the world. We have to develop smart port as well as smart economy. We have to reinforce the advantages we have in traditional industries. Mr. Hailong point to us the direction we should head to. He said we have to promote new productive forces in Hong Kong so that we can improve and upgrade our industrial chain and supply chain, and that we can nurture emerging industries and future industries, as well as to contribute to our country. The new productive forces stem from the 4th Industrial Revolution. With the rapid development of technologies in our country, I think the key to promoting new productive forces have to do with 3 major directions and 3 policy objectives. First, to promote new productive forces, we have to make breakthroughs in technologies. This is going to be our main objective. That is the breakthrough from 0 to 1. We have to make revolutionary breakthroughs to develop new growth engines. For instance, in the past, our country spent 10 years on new energy vehicles, and there was a new technology revolving around new energy vehicles. And the breakthroughs is the battery as well as the battery management system. The industry of the new energy vehicle batteries have become a high-end industry of our country. I remember that 10 years ago, I tried to drive a new energy vehicle in Hong Kong. There were 4 seats, but then because of the battery, there were only 2 seats in the car, and the battery could only last for a day. If you look back now, well, if you look at the new energy vehicles, be they ones developed by DYB or the ones with lithium batteries, the batteries can last for a long time that satisfy the needs for long journeys. The enterprises that manufacture the top 10 new energy vehicles, well, the enterprises are topping the country. To foster new productive forces, we have to be pioneers. Among the new industries developed by our country, the ones that stand out and have the ability to roll out new standards for products, well, Hong Kong is very familiar with different commercial mode. We have many business chambers and associations that can help set standards that would help enterprises tap the international market. These enterprises can also use Hong Kong as the stepping stone to open up international markets. So setting new standards is a key for fostering new productive forces. We can also be the base for testing out new products. For instance, for clean energy industry, we can work with pioneering enterprises in Hong Kong so that we can make use of the technologies they develop so that we can better display to other countries around the world or Belt and Road countries these technologies to help open up international markets, and Hong Kong can gain from this process. Thirdly, new productive forces is about high competitiveness. Information technologies developed by leaps and bounds. That's why we need to have long-term planning. President Xi Jinping emphasized that new productive forces have to be developed according to local conditions. Internationalization is one major advantage we enjoy. Therefore, we have to leverage our strengths. We have to enhance our strategic mindset in terms of finance, carbon trading, or big data. We can make use of these industries. In terms of life science technologies, low altitude economy, we have to move ahead. We have to make breakthroughs in technologies. We have to have long-term planning. If we are able to do this, I believe that in terms of fostering new productive forces, we will be able to yield results. I think Hong Kong can have relevant policies in the following areas. First, in bringing in talents and nurturing talents. In order for us to promote new productive forces, we need to have a massive amount of professionals. People is the determining factor for us to bolster new productive forces. We need three types of talents desperately. First, for frontier technologies, we need relevant talents. Second, in terms of basic R&D, we need leaders in this area. Third, we need people who are familiar with applying data about new productive forces. If we can bring in talents in these three areas, I believe we are able to scale new heights in our economy. Also, we have to develop the loop by leveraging our strengths. In the 2 sessions this year, the DAB called for development of the loop. I think we can make full use of the Hong Kong Shenzhen INT zone to develop biotechnology. I also think that we should have the central government in terms of getting biosamples as well as developing clinical trials so that we can leverage our strengths in the relevant area to promote new productive forces. Lastly, to promote reindustrialization in Hong Kong, we should speed up transformation of R&D outcomes. This is an important factor for us to transform technological and innovative resources. This is also a key to promoting new productive forces. Therefore, I think there should be collaboration between the GBA and the Productivity Council. We should speed up the transformation of R&D outcomes from labs to industrial chains to better assist the upgrading and transformation of enterprises. we should make use of INT to support high quality development of our economy with talents, with the development in the loop, as well as with the planning. I believe we will be able to soon achieve results in fostering new productive forces. Now I'd like to hear members about their views on promoting productive forces.
And now propose the question to you that Mr. Chen Hak-kan's motion be passed, Dr. Johnny Ng. I would first like to thank Mr. Chen Hak-kan for moving the motion. I hope that we can all discuss the new opportunities brought about by new quality productive forces. I agree that we should seize the opportunity and develop Hong Kong into the 8 centers and make good use of the new quality productivity forces. I have a few suggestions to make. One, we should develop more emerging technologies. We have recently Web3 and the other technologies. We are at an advantage to develop these emerging industries. We are also a legal center and talent hub. We have all the strengths that can build a wealth-free platform, and in turn that will bring about new opportunities to Hong Kong. In recent years, many academic institutions have training programs in relation to aviation and logistics. And in turn, that will create a good foundation for the future. In order to develop new quality productive forces, we need to promote the realization of R&D outcomes. The government's efforts in the promotion of realization of R&D outcomes have seen fruitful results. We need to make sure that we have a chain for moving from upstream research to downstream realization of outcomes. Recently, the presidency went to Jinan and a seminar was held to promote Chinese modernization, and during the meeting it was said that for new qualitative productivity forces, they can be used to help traditional industries in upgrading themselves. So I think new quality productive forces should be made use of in the traditional industries of Hong Kong, that is finance, legal, professional consulting, and so on, to consolidate our advantages. The government should also take the lead to make forward planning for certain industries and perhaps tax incentives to encourage R&D breakthroughs. Under the National 14th Five-Year Plan, Hong Kong is to be developed into an international R&D hub. We should, with this strong support of the country, introduce more technologies into Hong Kong. We also have good basic research in Hong Kong. We should make use of such capabilities to hasten our development into an international INT hub. We need to make sure we nurture INT talents and attract overseas talents to come to Hong Kong. Many youngsters are very interested in joining the INT sector. If we have more INT enterprises come to Hong Kong, this will create more job opportunities and provide more room for development of the youth. With the development of new quality productive forces in the country, Hong Kong will also benefit. we should make use of our advantages to make contributions in the development of new quality productive forces in the country. Thank you. I so submit. Professor William Wong. Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Chen Hak-kan for moving the motion so that we can discuss in depth how we can accelerate the development of new quality productive forces and seize such opportunities. President Xi, in September of last year, said that the development of new quality productive forces would help with the traditional industries as well, and this has been said as a priority in the government work report released this year. Since then, new quality productive forces have become a buzzword. We would want to tie in with the national strategy, and in the past 2 years, we have been trying to develop in this regard, but we should not focus only on industrial aspects. We should also focus on industries such as the service sector. We also need to make sure the whole chain is working in order to promote productivity of society in general. We should also enhance the quality of goods and services. So while we're talking about new quality productive forces, we should make sure we can be innovative in tackling existing problems. Making use of technologies would be one. Take the Northern Metropolis as an example. Northern Metropolis will be important for development of INT in Hong Kong, as it is a new development area. There is much we can do with that, and I urge the government to practice forward thinking in the planning of Northern Metropolis, especially with the transport network. We should take a multidimensional approach. We should not consider only putting in place the railway network. We should consider developing low-altitude economy in the Northern Metropolis and put in place low-altitude transport network. We also can think about for the HSITP, Hong Kong Shenzhen INT Park in the Loop, we can have eVTOL, vertical takeoff and landing technologies tested out there, and that will enhance efficiency of various operations. So I'm not sure which department is going to take the lead at the moment, but the government should prepare for low-altitude economy. We also need to talk about AI+. This also appeared for the very first time this year in the government work report. What does it mean? It means that the technological outcomes should be realized. So it should not be limited to research. We should have demand-driven research and deploy resources to research that has demand. We should also move towards what we're doing with the Raise Plus scheme. We should promote this to healthcare and elderly care and so on, to ensure new quality productive forces can actually bring about the development of INT. During the 2 sessions, President Xi said that the development of new quality productive forces should take into account local circumstances. Hong Kong has its own advantages, and we should leverage on such advantages to tackle the challenges and make contributions to the country. I so submit. Mr. Sunny Ten. To develop new quality productive forces is an important national strategy, and President Xi said that we should develop new quality productive forces with reference to local conditions. This has been set as a priority in the government work report. Hong Kong has its advantages to implement this strategy. Hong Kong is to be developed into 8 centers, and I think Hong Kong is in the position to make great contributions to the development of new quality productive forces in the country. We have new materials, new industries, new technologies, and so on. We need to make use of, for example, green technologies to minimize the impact cost. We should also make use of technologies to improve productivity. Before, we used to be very labor intensive. We would often engage mainland workers, and we have benefited a lot. But now we are moving towards less labor intensive operations. Compared to overseas, we now have higher costs, and other countries still have great demand for our products because we are producing quality products. It shows that we are moving towards high quality development. As said before, branding is very important, and it is also how people derive satisfaction. In order to develop new quality productive forces in Hong Kong, we should make sure we have the right infrastructure. We should make sure such infrastructure is competitive. We also need the right talents. We also need to ensure the foundations are in place. In order to develop new quality productive forces, we need to formulate strategies. To tie in with national strategies, we should practice a forward-thinking approach to push forward certain industries development. With textile industries, new materials, intelligent manufacturing, and global sales, I believe in these aspects we can make use of new quality productive forces. With global supply chain management, Hong Kong has much experience to play a connector role. We should actively reach out to the top-notch mainland enterprises to get them to set up bases in Hong Kong. And then we can help them go global with our sales channels. I and the textile industry believe that the Hong Kong Fashion Design Week can be a great platform for this. With R&D and manufacturing, the 8 UGC-funded universities and the 5 tertiary institutions and the Productivity Council have been playing key roles in this. I would like to declare I am the chairman of the Productivity Council. We should, with reference to local conditions, develop new quality productive forces in Hong Kong and help with the development of traditional and new industries. We want to make use of our advantages to make contributions to the country in making it even more competitive. I believe we can make use of the new quality productive forces to help with the country. Thank you.
Mr. Hailong. I thank Mr. Gary Chan for raising this motion. I declare that I am the founder of a new productive forces association. Well, members have expressed their views on new productive forces. My understanding is that we have to have more productive manufacturing or more green manufacturing or production. To give you some examples, back in the 17th century, we saw the first invention of steamer. And in the 19th century, it was the first time for humans to use electricity. And recently, there was the emergence of computer, and we entered the era of internet. And this year, we have entered the era of large models. Well, every era, we see some breakthroughs. If I explain it this way, it may be easier for you to understand it. Because Mr. Gary Chan mentioned about breakthroughs. Well, modern production, unlike in the ancient times, we relied on labor or humans. In fact, we have all along been promoting new productive forces. Nowadays, new productive forces are fostered through capital policy as well as smart technology. We have had some resources. For instance, in the upstream sector, we have strong R&D capabilities to achieve end-to-one transformation. However, we're still lagging behind. I attended some events recently where the leaders of some provinces told me that we are at a similar level as it was back in dozens of years ago. We are still using diesel-powered vehicles, for instance. Well, after hearing their comments, it reminded me of the disputes between Uber drivers and taxi drivers. Well, some people asked me for my opinions about this. Well, my view is that driver is a job that is no longer going to be the trend. I think we have to give strategic support to promote new productive forces. We have to have new quality or high quality products. And in order to do that, the SAR government has to pay attention to local and new migrant entrepreneurs. I stress entrepreneurs because it is not members of this council who can best interpret the term new productive forces. Instead, it is entrepreneurs. Mr. Gary Chan mentioned about factors that help us promote new productive forces. In order to transform R&D and outcomes, enterprises are the key. Well, Professor Swandong attended an event, and also on the 8th of May this year, the CE also confirmed the importance of entrepreneurs' contribution in the Global Talent Summit. Also, the SAR government should encourage research, academic, and industry sectors collaboration. There are some 24 items under the Race Plus scheme, and I think they are all trailblazing items. We have to look for CEOs, and it is only with entrepreneurs that we can speed up the realization of R&D outcomes. Recently, we have all types of talent admission schemes. These talents are going to different universities, including the HKUST as well as the City University. The SAR government should come up with incentives and policies to attract enterprises to establish presence in Hong Kong. The Oasis have achieved some results. However, I hope that they can fulfill their promises. For instance, we need to have more job opportunities, and I hope we can achieve actual results in this regard. The SAR government should help local enterprises transform and upgrade themselves. We have to embrace the changes together. Like Mr. Sunny Tan said, the textile industry is seeing is having the same vision as well. Also, we have to enhance awareness of new productive forces, and also the SAR government should have long-term planning to improve and upgrade the Hong Kong INT development blueprint to embrace the promotion of new productive forces. I speak in support of the motion. Thank you. Mr. Dennis Leung. President, new quality productive forces has become a hot topic today, and it is the crux of today's discussion. I hope we can speed up the promotion of new productive forces for high-quality development. Over the past few years, the SAR government has completed a series of missions. We're seeing the movement from stability to prosperity. Marxists once said that productive forces is the fundamental force for historical development. Human and labor is also a display of new productive forces. Productive forces rely on labor, and we have to see improvement. Well, to put it simply, we have to change our mindset. We have to have a team of labor. We have to have the relevant strategic talents. We have to be familiar with how to apply such talents. In terms of labor forces, we have to make use of relevant tools. We have to have a grasp of core technologies. At the technological level, we have to overcome the shortcomings. We have to discover new talents and their potentials in order to promote new productive forces. We also have to have innovative infrastructure and facilities. We need land, labor, capital, data, and so on. And labor is crucial in order to nurture a new generation of talents. We have to be able to do that to promote new productive forces. So the SAR government has to speed up in terms of cultivating talents with technologies and expertise in order to change the nature of our labor and to upskill them. This is a vision that I have been calling for. In the downstream sector, the SAR government has to support the relevant parties, and in the midstream, we have to have facilitators so that the new generation has the knowledge and expertise. We need students to be able to grasp the relevant theories as well as develop their own new theories. Over the past few years, we have had a lot of jobs and vacancies yet to be filled. We have emphasized nurturing academic talents. However, we haven't been able to nurture enough technology talents. Technology is crucial. Without tech talents, we are going to see shortcomings in promoting new productive forces. So apart from academic scholars and talents, we also have to cultivate students with relevant skills and technology. We have to offer them opportunities. So after people finish secondary schools, well, they can perhaps take part in courses like repairing vehicles, and they can attend courses held by CIC. In cultivating talents, we have to incorporate new elements. We have to reform the relevant courses and programs so that trainees can have a grasp of how to use smart systems. That would make workers' life easier. This is what we have been talking about, new or high quality development. These are also indicators for success. So I suggest that the SAR government should really focus on model workers, and we should not overlook the frontline workers. Knowledge-based jobs would form part of new productive forces that are going to contribute to our economic growth, and it's going to help us overcome the shortcomings. And that way, we are going to share the fruitful results of social development. I so submit. Thank you. Mr. Tan Yueheng. I thank Mr. Gary Chen for the motion. We are now pursuing economic growth in Hong Kong. We have to leverage the strengths of emerging markets. In order to do that, We have to focus on our local conditions so that we can seize new opportunities and we can overcome new challenges. We have to look at our local demands and needs. We have to promote new productive forces with local characteristics. I think this should be the main part of our discussion. Therefore, I suggest in the amendment that we have to look at the local conditions. We have to promote complementarity of advantages with the Greater Bay Area. We have to leverage our unique advantages. I have 2 points to share. First, we have to speed up the formation of a development pattern of South-North dual engine. This is how we can spur industrial innovation according to local conditions. We need policy and visions. We have to have relevant infrastructure, transportation facilities, and so on in order to form such a development pattern. We have finance in the south, we have INT in the north, but it doesn't mean that we are not attaching importance to other sectors. It also doesn't mean that we should not develop finance in the north. It just means that there should be a better division of work, which can ensure more efficient use of land. The Victoria Harbour can serve as the center point and as we develop the financial service industry and other sectors. Also, we can make use of the Shenzhen-Hong Kong Innovation and Technology Cooperation Zone for nurturing new emerging industries. Our country's strategy is to bring together talents so that we can have a flow of information, capital, and goods. Secondly, we have to develop the arts and culture as well as creative industry. There are huge potentials in these sectors because they represent the soft power of Hong Kong, and this makes Hong Kong competitive. There should be long-term planning for these industries. For instance, we should consider building our our film studios. For instance, the movie called The Twilight of Warriors Walled In has been popular, and the government has been thinking of making use of the film set as a tourism spot. There should be itineraries developed around the film set. These are all medium and long-term plans. The film industry in Hong Kong has gone through some golden eras, and we have accumulated abundant resources and talents. We can be more far-sighted. We can have our own film studios. We can have film parks. We also can have themed parks in the walled city. We can have VR technologies incorporated as we develop such themed parks. We can also recreate film settings of classic movies of Hong Kong in these tourism spots. We can also recreate the Jumbo restaurant scene, for instance, which could be popular among the young and old. By doing this, we will be able to boost our tourism industry. This is what we talk about promoting new productive forces according to local conditions. I speak in support of the motion. Thank you.
Mr. Yueheng, President, developing new quality productive forces has become a medium to long-term strategy of the country. It will impact on our sustainable development in the future. I thank Mr. Gary Chan for moving this motion on seizing the opportunities of accelerating the development of new quality productive forces in the country. And this gives us an opportunity to discuss the topic in depth. Now, during the two sessions, President Xi said, in view of the latest challenges and the reformative technologies, we must tap the opportunities and accelerate the development of our new industries and take a forward-looking approach in enhancing our modernized industrial layout. Now, the Economic Work Forum convened last year pointed out that we must use disruptive technology and cutting-edge technologies to give rise to new industry, new development model, and new quality productive forces. Now, the key word here is innovative. Developing new quality productive forces is more than transformation of conventional industries. We must pick up pace in industrial innovation and also innovation of our mindset as well as innovation uses of resources. Now, in the Northern Metropolis, it is a unique opportunity for us to adopt the new quality productive forces. Now, in terms of basic research, regulation, innovation, and also I&T, this is the best entry point for us to exert our strengths in the GBA. Now, as long as we can give play to our basic research advantage while aligning with the country's needs by investing more in the area and providing policy steers, the Northern Metropolis can definitely become the highland for new quality productive forces. Now, the government must have a strategy. For example, what should we do in terms of building a headquarters economy in the Northern Metropolis? There must be more competitive land policies to allow leading enterprises in the world to set up their headquarters in the Northern Metropolis. In terms of the Northern Metropolis University town, we must introduce world-renowned education institutions to set up in the area. There must be co-investments by the government and the private sectors so that we can transform research outcomes in the area. Now, we should adopt the old model in the initial days of the reform and opening up of the country to entice factory production lines to be set up in Hong Kong. Now, there should be more incentives in terms of attracting talents and enterprises. We must optimize the allocation of our productive elements to pick up pace in developing the pattern of South-North geo-engine to provide new impetus for Hong Kong's growth. Developing new quality productive forces in Hong Kong, to do that, we must be aggressive. We must seek changes and push forward reforms and pull together new impetus for developing new quality productive forces. Only then can we emerge from stability to prosperity. I support the motion moved by Mr. Gary Chan and the amendments moved by other members. I hope members will support my amendments as well. Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry. President, I thank Mr. Gary Chan for moving the motion on seizing the opportunities of accelerating the developments of new quality productive forces in the country. I also thank Dr. Johnny Ng, Professor Wong Kam-Fai, Mr. Sunny Tang, Dr. Tan Yueheng, Shang Hailong, Mr. Yim Kong, and Mr. Dennis LEUNG for moving their amendments. This gives us an opportunity to have an in-depth exchange on the topic. In September 2023, President Xi Jinping proposed developing new quality productive forces. While striving to modernize the industrial system and developing new quality productive forces at a faster pace is listed as the first major task in the government's work report this year. New quality productive forces mean a leap in productivity resulting from a significant improvement in the quality of all factors of production. Innovation is the key driver behind this. We must develop new quality productive forces by transforming research outcomes into core technologies so as to build a new engine for new industry, new technology in Hong Kong. Innovation technology can bring about new industry and new development model, as well as driving transformation and upgrade of conventional industries. It would diversify our economies and give new impetus in Hong Kong. It is noteworthy that in contrast to conventional productive forces, new quality productive forces is the creation of new values and new industries. But this is by no means the abandonment of conventional industries. The key is to be pragmatic and give regard to local conditions in harnessing the power of I&T to transform our conventional industries. We must seize the opportunity and pick up pace in developing new quality productive forces by co-developing with the mainland neighbors. Now, the key is to continuously seek breakthroughs and promote connectivity and achieve win-win development. Now, besides this bureau, other bureaus will also adopt an innovative mindset in leading society in the cause. Today, I and the Undersecretary for Commerce and Economic Development, as well as the Undersecretary for Transport and Logistics, will listen to members' views and we will give reply in the closing remarks. Thank you. I now suspend the Council meeting until 9 a.m. tomorrow.